Gold price doubles 2009 level as real interest rate hits 14-year high. The dollar price of gold fixed above $1,900 per troy ounce yet again on Wednesday, holding that level at London's afternoon benchmark auction as global stock markets also traded unchanged ahead of the Federal Reserve publishing minutes from its end July meeting, when policymakers raised the cost of borrowing because inflation remains elevated. With the Fed raising its key interest rate to a ceiling of 5.5% last month, U.S. inflation accelerated to 3.2% per year while the underlying cost of living excluding food and fuel prices saw inflation edge back to 4.7%. So-called break-even inflation forecasts in the bond market have dropped by half a percentage point since the Fed began raising overnight interest rates from zero in March last year, holding at 2.3% per annum on a 10-year horizon in Wednesday's trade as the yield on 10-year Treasury Inflation-Protected Securities, widely known as the real rate of interest, slipped just 1 basis point today from Tuesday's finish at 1.89% per annum, the highest since early July 2009. Gold prices were then trading at $920 per troy ounce. This significant tightening of financial conditions, on top of what the Fed is doing, will collectively sap liquidity-sensitive precious metals in the near term, says a note from strategist Nikki Shields at Swiss Gold Bullion Refining and Finance Group MKS PAMP. But it looks like fragile international economies, with some local catalysts, are crumbling under the weight of the toxic mix of higher US dollar and higher US interest rate regime, backing the case for gold increasingly becoming an insurance policy for investors with higher portfolio allocations. Most plainly, says Shields, China is a massive worry for commodities. Oil prices today rallied after slipping almost 3% from last week's new 2023 highs as news of a stronger-than-expected drawdown in U.S. stockpiles offset concerns over the economic slowdown in China, but copper held near 2-month lows as the Chinese property sector's debt repayment crisis spread to state-owned developers. Following yesterday's surprise cut to people's bank interest rates, the communist dictatorship in Beijing will strengthen the coordination of various policies, boosting consumption and promoting investment, state media said on Wednesday following a cabinet meeting chaired by Premier Li Qiang. Chinese modernization is the modernization of common prosperity for all, which differs from Western modernization, says a new article from President Xi Jinping, published today in the Chinese Communist Party's quarterly Xi Journal. Efforts should be made to ensure that the achievements of modernization benefit all more fairly and prevent polarization. The gold price in China, the precious metals #1 mining, consumer and central bank buying nation, held near 10-month highs relative to London quotes on Wednesday, showing a premium of more than $30 per ounce as weak gold demand continued to be masked by tight supplies. UK gold prices in pounds per ounce meantime fell to 1-month lows beneath £1,500, and the euro price held little changed from its level of mid-July at €1,745. Silver in contrast held little changed for the day at $22.60 per ounce, down $2.50 from the peak hit 4 weeks ago.